This is QTV News, coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Umudu Kajaga, and thanks for joining us. First, here are the main news headlines. In the ongoing trial of 5 alleged coup plotters, the second prosecution witness, Yaya Manjang, a self-claimed Marabout, told the High Court that 2 of the accused, Sana Fadera and Fabakary Jawara, visited him last year and informed him of their plan to stage a coup d'etat. Ahead of the Gambia's 58th independence celebration in Banjul, the security services held their final dress rehearsal in preparation for Saturday's parade. The American Embassy in Banjul and partners celebrated Black History Month, also called African American History Month, on Wednesday. And in international news, following the killing of more than 100 civilians and 16 police officers in the past 6 months in Kenya, the authorities are to deploy the military in its northern region to help fight bandits. And in sports news, 6 Gambian footballers are in Turkey on trials with Fenerbahce FC, with the hope of signing contracts with the club. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. In the ongoing trial of 5 alleged coup plotters, the second prosecution witness, Yaya Manjang, a self-claimed Marabout, on Thursday told the High Court that 2 of the accused persons, Sana Fadera and Fabakary Jawara, visited him at Busura in November last year to inform him of their plan to stage a coup d'etat. More in this report.
When the matter was called for continuation, State Counsel A.M. Yusuf, along with 3 others, announced their presence for the state, while defense counsels L.S. Kamara and C. Mendy announced their presence for the first and 5th accused, Sana Fadera and Fabakary Jawara, while counsels Y. Dabo, A.S. Ba and B. Baji announced their presence for the 2nd, 3rd and 4th accused, Private Officer Jibril Dabo, Corporal Ibrahim Asano and Corporal Omar Njai, respectively. Taking to the witness box, prosecution witness 2, Yaya Manjang, told the court that he is a Marabout and that sometime in November last year, the 5th accused person, Fabakary Jawara, was introduced to him by one Mustafa Jabi. The witness alleges that Jawara visited him on 2 more occasions. The 2nd visit, Jawara was alone, but he came with the 1st accused person, Sana Fadera, on his 3rd visit, and went on to claim that they revealed their plans to overthrow the government and solicited his spiritual intervention. Furthermore, PW2 Yaya Manjang says he told them to buy a white goat and bitter kola. The goat was to be slaughtered and along with the bitter kola, distributed to at least 7 different mosques. PW2 Yaya Manjang says he also told them that to achieve their target, they may also need to go to either Senegal, Guinea or Mauritania for spiritual intervention. Testifying further, the witness says he subsequently traveled to Senegal where he heard of the arrest of the accused persons. During the cross-examination by the defense counsels for the 1st, 3rd and 5th accused, lawyers L.S. Kamara and Yankuba Dabo, the witness told the court he was arrested about a week after the arrest of the accused and briefly detained at Brikama police station before he was transferred to the anti-crime base in Banjul, where he was detained for 3 days before he was moved to the NIA headquarters in Banjul for questioning. Asked if he recognized the 1st accused, Sana Fadera, the witness said he could not recognize him because he only saw him once and that it was at night. The case has been adjourned to the 21st of February at 1 p.m. for continuation. Answane Sonyasi for QTV News.
Ahead of Gambia's 58th independence celebrations in Banjul on Saturday, the men and women of the armed and security services held their final dress rehearsal on Thursday and, as usual, showed that they are ready to deliver another eye-catching parade. Alusise has more.
It is exactly at this venue here at the Makati Square that on 18 February 1965 that the Union Jack was lowered for the last time and the Gambian flag hoisted, marking the independence of this tiny West African nation of just less than 3 million people. Well, here on Saturday, the President of the Republic, President Adama Barrow, is going to preside over the celebration of the 58th independence anniversary of this country on the theme, Democracy, a Recipe for Peace and Development. For the past 2 weeks, these men and women detachments of the armed forces, the Navy, the prison, police, the Republican National Guard, the Immigration Service, the Fire and Rescue Services, and Customs have been perfecting their marching skills ahead of the Gambia's 58th independence anniversary celebrations at the Makati Square in the capital Banjul. The theme for this year's celebration is Democracy, a Recipe for Peace and Development. Present at the final rehearsal on Thursday were heads of the various security outfits. Led by Parade Commander Lieutenant Colonel Abdullah Mboup, these parade officers displayed what they have been rehearsing in the past few weeks. Lamin Esmarong, media officer with the Gambia Armed Forces, said the rehearsal is meant to synchronize their moves and marching and familiarize themselves with the ground, among other things.
When it comes to marching, we are one of the best, one of the finest within the West African region and within the British colonies. We are one of the finest. If there is something very much important that we inherited from the British and the British left with us, is this marching. So tomorrow, what we expect from these people is excellent marching in a smart soldier-like manner. Their dressing will be more befitting than today because, like I said, today is a dress rehearsal. They'll be prepared tomorrow for the event proper. Shiny boots, shiny ceremonial dress, and we expect them to do the utmost best.
And as a member of the armed forces, are you impressed with what we have seen so far?
Actually, I'm impressed. What I've seen so far, really impressed. Because one thing I will tell you, the Chief of Defense Staff Gambia Armed Forces doesn't take such ceremonies lightly. He put everything into these ceremonies to make sure that these such important national occasions, are well, participated by our various forces.
The Independence celebration, which is expected to start at 9 a.m. on Saturday, will be attended by President Barrow, members of the diplomatic corps, cabinet ministers, venerable religious leaders, students, and cultural groups, among others. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
The American Embassy in Banjul, in partnership with the Center for Studies on Africa and its Diaspora at Georgia State University in Atlanta, celebrated Black History Month, also called African American History Month, on Wednesday. Loli M. Camara attended and filed this report.
February each year is observed annually in the United States as Black History Month. The day gained recognition from governments in the United States and Canada, with more countries joining recently. Research shows that Black educators and Black United students at Kent State University first proposed Black History Month in February 1969. The U.S. Embassy in Banjul and partners organized a forum to promote global unity around reading and literary freedom. Sharon L. Cromer is the U.S. ambassador to the Gambia.
The cruelty of slavery and the inhumanity that continues the struggle today. The human spirit that longs for freedom, dignity, heritage, and identity will not, cannot be denied.
The first celebration of Black History Month took place at Kent State from January 2nd to February 28, 1970. 6 years later, Black History Month was being celebrated across the country in educational institutions, community, and the centers of Black culture. President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month in 1976, during which he urged Americans to honor the two often neglected accomplishments of African Americans. Given the important role African Americans played in the development of the United States and advocacy efforts by Black people for a dignified, self-determined life, the theme for this year's celebration is Black Resistance. Hassan Cisse, historian and Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, says Black History Month aims to amplify the achievements of people. Cisse further elaborates.
The achievements of slavery and colonial rule was to downplay the contributions of the African race to world civilization. Our contribution in science, in history, in technology, in literature, and so on.
The renowned Gambian historian encourages people to make the best use of the historic sites, such as James Island, museums in the country, and other important sites, to know what led to the repeat operations of the Black race. Black History Month is also a time to honor the contributions and legacies of African Americans from activists and civil rights pioneers such as Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks, among others. On the Global Read-a-Thon program, excerpts from the book Eye of Ebony, authored by Nana Gray Johnson, Roots by Alex Haley, were read by Chorno Omar Bari and Nana Gray Johnson. And the Search for a Lost Brother by Yankuba Mamburi was read for people to remember that slavery was conducted on our shores, and a powerful poem on this year's theme was read by Chornogay.
From the beginning, it was all about one race racing against all other races. One color that kills colors, languages, cultures, and religions, and where race became God and God became a man, we survived.
For QTV News, Slowly M. Kamara.
Well, now we'll take a short break and we will come back and give you more stories.
Amna lu manqué de. Lu manqué? Armanti mayonnaise su amul duma lek. Ma ngi ñëw man ma jégi armanti. Ah. Noko gisé? Safna neexna. Ndax mom ci armanti mayonnaise ak sauce boko ci def rek da fay neex. Ni la. Armanti mayonnaise. Ren la am 28 years. Wow. Ta cafka mosul ci tegon tankam fala ko tek ba tay man nak armanti dama ko min yalla dafa dogal armanti dafa don sama xali
yeen jéegi réew mi neena len ñaar fukki at ak juroom ñett du fukki at ak juroom ñett de du ay fodde mala ñu wax li dugg len ci bepp marché bepp supermarket bepp boutique ci biir réew mi amna 500 ml 1000 ml ak 5 kg li ci gëna té dakh moy def len indil 25 gram moy ciatu mayonnaise bi amna margarine bota amna bota ice am corned beef bu yap ak bu ginar amna sardine ak banana milk armanti dal dafa compléter lepp ngir noppal jeeg yi seen bir way
Armanti product the good quality food.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News and coming up next is international news. Kenya is to deploy the military in its northern region to help fight bandits after they killed more than 100 civilians and 16 police officers in the past 6 months. Jennifer Sonko has more.
The deployment begins 15th February with an immediate mandate to support the National Police Service to respond to the security emergency in 6 different counties. The Interior Minister, Kindiki Kiture, declared a 30-day curfew on Monday in the affected areas due to the security situation, which he deemed a national emergency. The Interior Minister says the situation in the Northern Rift Valley region constituted a national emergency and gave people in the area 3 days to surrender their firearms before being subjected to the full force of the law. Kenya has long contended with security threats in the east of the country from Somalia's Al-Shabaab, which make cross-border raids aimed at pressuring the country into withdrawing its troops from the African Union-mandated peacekeeping force in Somalia. Reports show that over the past few days, the gangs have increased their terror against civilians and the security agencies, and in the process have burned down schools, police vehicles and other social assets, displacing hundreds of Kenyans in the process. The government has come under criticism for not doing enough to deal with the problem, even as the armed gunmen have recently become bolder, killing people and stealing livestock despite high-level security meetings in the areas. This announcement of troop deployments is being seen as an attempt to deal with the problem and quell public anger. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
From that report by Jenna Bosonko, next is sports news. 6 Gambian footballers are in Turkey on trials with Fenerbahce FC. The players will train to showcase their talent with the Turkey club with the hope of signing contracts with the club. In this report, I engaged Sadibou Kamaso, the coordinator of the trials, via a video link from Turkey. After being successfully scouted in a talent scouting mission in December last year, the 6 Gambian players are Alaji Cherno Job, Cherno Saho, Ahmed Tijan Savage, Omar Baji, Suleiman Jallo and Omar Sise. Sadibou Kamaso, the coordinator of the trials, explains.
10 players were actually, selected, but unfortunately only 6 were able to get their documentation ready. And here we are. They're in Istanbul and they're actually at the Fenerbahce training complex, doing the needful, and then they'll, identify those that they feel that are okay to continue, and then they'll take it from there.
The 6 players were amongst more than 300 players and 18 teams that took part in a trial competition held at the KG5 mini stadium in Banjul under the supervision of scouts from Fenerbahce. For the duration of their trials, the Gambian players will be based at Fenerbahce Academy complex and are expected to sign contracts after successfully completing the trials, subject to medical.
Normally how this trial works is they look at these players and then they identify, and then a smaller group is invited for the last day. And out of this, 2 of them, as I had said in one of my interviews, are going to sign their contracts subject to medical, of course, because they'll do their medicals, and once they found to be fit, they will sign their contracts. They're all amateur for now. The other 6, they still want to see them again.
The players are drawn from different clubs, from the 1st and 2nd division. One of the players is a goalkeeper from Walidan, Ahmed Tijan Savage, and another, Omar Sise, is a player for B4U Kiang West, a 2nd division club. According to Sadibou, another batch of players will be going to Italy, also for trials.
And from this, we have another list that is supposed to go to Italy, because we had 2 different groups that were in town.
Yeah.
There's some that we're working on their paperwork for them to go to Italy. So this is the Turkish contingent. There's another team that is supposed to go to Italy once we finalize the paperwork. But yeah, they're from different categories, from 1st division, 2nd division, to 3rd division and academies.
Despite arriving in Turkey in freezing weather, the players, according to Kamaso, are coping well in their new environment.
When you bring these kids for trials, there's that, issue of complex sometimes, because they've never been to this sort of, atmosphere. The change of weather and the setting that you're bringing them in. So sometimes it's a bit difficult. So allow them time so they're able to showcase the talent. But the kids have been, amazingly, they've been amazing. They've been exceptional. They want to make this happen, and they keep telling me we have the opportunity to prove, and then, we'll give it our all. So I'm very hopeful that things will go the right way, inshallah.
If these players are successful and sign contracts to play at Fenerbahce, they will feel even more welcomed in the company of at least 4 Gambian players in the Turkish league. Omar Koli, who recently signed for Besiktas, Ali Sow, who plays for Ankara Gucu, Lamin Jallo and Ibrahima Koli. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News. In sports news, 27 upper basic and senior secondary schools have participated in the regional inter-schools athletics competition held in Farafenni in the North Bank region over the weekend. Don Williams attended and filed this report.
The Regional Inter-Schools Athletics Heat is one of the biggest sporting events in rural Gambia, where young talents compete in track and field events to qualify for the National Schools Athletics Championships. It was a very colorful atmosphere at the Farafenni Mini Stadium, and the ambience was extraordinary, with the drumming, clapping, dancing and singing by supporters of various schools. The first events of the day were the 100 meters race for under 15, under 18 and open boys and girls. The girls' event saw St. Michael and Farafenni Senior Secondary School emerge as the top contenders in the senior schools category. While in the upper basic category, Bara Esau, Farafeni, and St. John Upper Basic were competing for the highest number of qualifiers. Two outstanding athletes were Ilyasa Fai and Aissatou Fai of St. Michael's Senior Secondary School, who have been training together for 6 months and are optimistic about their school's chance of emerging victorious.
I must add, double the bond to train harder and be the national champion again.
I trained almost 6 months. After that, I got an injury. I could not able to get my normal form. So that's why during the hits, I don't able to do what I can do.
Farafeni Senior Secondary School recorded remarkable and outstanding performance in almost every event. Lamin A. Jame, the Secretary General of GSSSA, shared his impression of the competition.
I'm very much impressed in all aspects, particularly new schools that have been added to the existing schools that are well known for coming in every year to participate, meaning the number of schools have increased from previous one to a very higher number this time around. They have 22 senior secondary schools and then 5 upper basic schools. But in terms of the attendance, this year is unprecedented.
Aliu Cham, former chairman for school sports, explains the plight of the Farafeni Mini Stadium.
The GNOC assisted by providing this present venue, Farafeni, and Basse as well. It is very much disheartening to see the condition of this particular arena for athletics and football actually to be like this.
Despite the success of the competition, there are concerns raised about the venue for the championship as the Independence Stadium is closed to sporting events. Ismail Sisi, president of Gambia Secondary School Sports Association and Gambia Teachers Union, spoke about the venue for this year's championships finals.
We tentatively, during our press conference, agreed that we will hold it in Brikama, that is Bottrop Senior Secondary School, provided at the time when the finals is closer and the stadium is not finished, then we'll try to come to Brikama.
The Gambia Secondary School Sports Association president also gave his views on the controversial topic of cheating in athletics.
Zero tolerance to cheating. We are not going to accept any form of cheating. Cheating is cheating. We are considering everything to be cheating.
25 points. First position.
Don Williams, QTV News, Farafeni.
Well, school sports is just lovely, unbelievable, electric atmosphere there. Before we end this news bulletin, let's have a recap of our main news headlines. In the ongoing trial of the 5 alleged coup plotters, the second prosecution witness, Yaya Manjang, a self-claimed marabout, told the High Court that 2 of the accused, Sana Fadera and Fabakary Jawara, visited him last year and informed him of their plan to stage a coup d'etat. Ahead of the Gambia's 58th independence celebrations in Banjul, the security services held their final dress rehearsal in preparation for Saturday's parade. The American Embassy in Banjul and partners celebrated Black History Month, also called African American History Month, on Wednesday. And in international news, following the killing of more than 100 civilians and 16 police officers in the past 6 months in Kenya, the authorities are to deploy the military in its northern region to help fight bandits. And in sports news, 6 Gambian players are in Turkey on trials with Fenerbahce FC, with the hope of signing contracts with the club. That's all in this edition of the news. Thank you very much for watching, but don't forget to join us again at 10 for another bulletin.